A recent article from Polygon flared up an old topic that tends to arise every now and then. We, as players of games, develop preferences and dislikes. Given the sheer scale of releases on a daily basis, it's fair to say that nearly every taste is catered for. But regardless of this, the Polygon article goes into detail about why they believe there's too many Soulslikes. And while this has been a topic that comes up time after time, I think we're forgetting something. As history shows, we can define periods of video games by trends that drive them. Be it CRPGs and point and clicks of the early to mid 90s, the slew of FPS that followed, the rise and fall of RTS, and that's all before we reach the apex of everything is now a shooter with co-op. Oh, and don't forget that one time that every game in existence had to have a stealth section. What I'm trying to get at here is that video games have always been full of trends. With that in mind, it's always odd to see people decry the existence of a trend, even if it is generally not a negative effect in the industry. Soulslikes. Love them or hate them, they've platformed some fantastic video game experiences. However, there is a long-running complaint that there's too many of them. And this complaint can be levied at a number of genres and subgenres, but it only seems like Soulslikes gets the harsher end of the deal. But why? The reality is, there are few genres that have defined ideals that firmly draw a line in the sand. Difficulty, player input, and consequence. These aspects are nearly always clearly defined by each Soulslike, or Souls-like adjacent game. When you have such a strong stance on something, you will by default become divisive. And we can see this in people's reactions to Soulslike, but also when the Souls-like DNA is argued with. There are plenty of Soulslikes on the market, on every level, and from a whole lot of different countries. Of course, we have the Japanese Patient Zeros, takes from China, South Korea, Italian Soulslikes, Brazilian and Spanish. The list goes on. While they're all in the same genre, most are trying to do something a little bit different. Push and prod the sides while maintaining the Souls-like core. Seeing the rise of soft Souls-likes that act as entry level to the genre via huge IPs such as Star Wars or even Final Fantasy. Even the kings of the genre are experimenting with it, with the likes of Night Rain. So while the genre may be oversaturated, it's growing in styles and flavour, some of which are reflecting the cultural values of where those games are developed. As time passes and trends are left to rot at the side, retrospection sets in. A warm glow begins to emit from the games that were overlooked or even rejected due to how overcrowded their genre had become at the time. Suddenly, another one becomes a hidden gem of the genre, an underrated experience that lives on through social media posts and YouTube videos. Perhaps this idea that there are too many Soulslikes falls into preference rather than taste. As a genre, Soulslike have proven to be fairly expansive in their own rights, as we've mentioned prior. When genres grow, we tend to see improvements and influence. Of course, not everything can be great or even good, but to bury a whole genre on a wider scale purely because, well, I don't like it, is pretty silly, if not ignorant to the art form. When will the Souls-like genre begin to recede, or at least to a point where it's no longer seen as an overdone genre? It doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, and, well, frankly that's good. The Souls-like genre represents the ideals of pure gameplay. The lack of long-winded cutscenes and press X to win, and the platforming of abstract storytelling is frankly welcome. We've not seen many genres appear, grow and flourish without introducing some negative effects for the consumer. Yet here we find ourselves in a time where games are being sent out with the intention to soak up money in the long run, with constant cycles of updates and paid content that adds very little beyond vanity. Yet, the Souls-like genre, with defined gameplay first ideals, has came to exist and sustain and grow. It's frankly impressive. The good news is, if you don't like Soulslikes, there are countless other games and genres for you to enjoy. For everyone else, I still feel that we're yet to see the end of the creativity and experimentation within the genre, let alone its influence is starting to cross over to other genres, creating interesting variations. Saturated, sure, but not without merit, at least not yet. So here's to many more years of Soulslikes, creativity that they'll inspire, the direction they may or may not go, and the influence they will have on a generation of creators and players.